spooky, scary skeletons send shivers down your spine. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Office Hours. I'm so excited that all of you guys are here. I am Celine, the community manager, and I'm here with August.
Hey, I hope everybody had an awesome weekend.
It is finally October, which means no one can complain to me that I'm listening to spooky music and drinking pumpkin spice latte. In here in LA, the weather doesn't really change much compared to when I lived in Korea. Like, we have distinctive four seasons. But I'm trying to get in the fall mood. It's been getting a little chilly. I have like a light quarter zip on. So I hope you guys are also enjoying some kind of weather change. August, what did you do for the weekend? Did you do anything fun?
I did a lot of stuff. I went to Muscle Beach in Santa Monica. There's a
uh,
there's a lot of equipment out there, like the
uh,
traveling rings, where you kind of get to be like Spider-Man by grabbing a ring and then swinging to the next one, and keep.
Whoa, can you do that?
I can go across all the way across 10 rings and all the way back,
Are
but I
you
can't do any
serious?
tricks. I saw an 80-year-old man do a backflip off of them. It's crazy. You never know
That
what
is
you're gonna
so
see.
cool.
Yeah, it's wild.
Wow, he's strong. Like recently actually tried aerial fitness for the first time, and it was the worst I've felt about myself in a while cuz you're supposed to like hold on the aerial silk or like the hoop thingy and like pull yourself up, but after all day sitting and working on my effects, my arms are very weak, so I couldn't do that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to improve." So I've been in an exercise kind of mood recently. um, we have a poll going on. What is your favorite season? It seems like spring is winning with 40%. I love the cherry blossoms, the feelings of spring, but fall is also pretty good, leading at 30%. I feel like before spring was my favorite, but now I've met all of my cats during the fall. I love seeing the color changes, so maybe fall's my new favorite. What about you, August?
I would have to say the summer. I'm a
Mm,
basic boy. I just like the sunlight and the long days.
oh, that's true. The days are going to get much shorter now. Hi, Samuel. Hi, Gali. Hi, Sasha. Sasha says, I'm ready with three exclamation marks. I can feel that she's ready. I love it. Thank you, Sasha, for joining. I see Goofy the Simba. I see David. Hi, our ambassador. Lord is here as well. The Far Out Mind, welcome back, saying, Yay, spooky season. Addie is also asking us a question. So let's get right into office hours. We're going to start with the questions that were asked last time, but we didn't get a chance to go over. We haven't forgot about you. Projo AR Filters asked how to set a blur to full screen but fade from blur to transparent.
Um, a blur. Okay. Let me open up a fresh project here. Let's see. So as we saw last week, if you go into the asset library and you go to could it be materials and search Gaussian blur, or just search blur if you don't know. Okay, so it is in the, which section is that? Maybe materials or maybe screen effects.
I think
Yeah, I think
screen.
it's screen effects. So yeah, in screen effects, there's all kinds of things that you can do that you could use as post processing, or you could use in a lot of different ways. So we're going to grab the Gaussian blur, which just happens to be a material. So that'll work the same way as pretty much any material, and you don't have to use it in this post processing stack. So the first thing I would do is just, well, we want to make it go from transparent to non-transparent. So we basically just want to mask it, right? Um, that's essentially what masking is. And can we poke in here? Okay, so I don't think we can edit this material, right? It's a hard coded one. So then in that case, in the post-processing effects, I'll add my own render texture so I can capture the whole screen blurred, and that will be what we use. So go to texture, render texture, add that, and this will be our blur render texture. I accidentally had caps lock, but that's fine. And then in the Gaussian blur with the post-processing effect, the easiest way to get this out into the render texture is just to change this final render output here in the camera component, and we'll change it to our blur render texture. And that means that our camera that would be showing us this blur is instead drawing it to a texture that we can use for something else. So then we won't see this anymore because it's not going to the final screen. And then if we want to use it, now we can add a screen image. And our screen image, if we select it, we can set that texture that we're creating. It should just look like the screen, but blurry. And it looks pretty much like the screen, but blurry. But if we adjust this material, we can make it more or less blurry. And remember, it's capturing to a render texture, and we're just seeing that render texture painted back to another camera. So in that one, we can create our own material. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much our only option, unless you want like one of these. You could maybe do filled if you don't want it to be a ramp curve. But let's create a new material. And so this material, we can use this on our screen image, and this will just change how the image is rendered. Instead of just rendering it flat out to the screen, let's say mask material, because it's just taking in the blur. You don't have to use the blur. You can input anything, right? And we'll do a texture. We'll sample texture 2D. And what you can do if you want to be able to change this and reuse this material and like duplicate it and use it for other textures is you could add the texture 2D here in the parameters and then pipe it in, or you can just select here. So our blur render texture, oops, blur render texture, there we go. And then I think we would want the screen coordinates. You could also do texture coordinates, but it depends on how you're going to deform this screen image and like how you want it to look when you deform it. I prefer screen cord because then it looks more like a mask. And then let's see, you could import a mask that ramps from like white to black or transparent to non-transparent. But we could also just, here's a quick hack that I use in a lot of cases. So I'll show you the way that I use it in a lot of cases, because I don't know, if it's more common for me, it might be more common for you. And we'll add a lerp. So what we want is, maybe not even a lerp, maybe a split from the RGBA, and then we'll do an append for. Append for is like combine in the regular visual scripting, where it will just create whatever, create a vec for. So now we have the colors, and now we want just the alpha. So we'll take this alpha and we'll set it equal to the Y value, and that'll create like a kind of a ramp, so that the higher in the screen you go, the more it changes it. Oh yeah. And on our screen image, now that we've put this value in here and we're using it on an image, this image here that I put in doesn't matter. We can change that to any texture if we use our mask material, because the image is being put into the mask material. We'll just set this to stretch so that we know it's definitely full screen. And then one other thing, whenever you create a material, this is just an important reminder, you have to change the blend mode so that it's not on none, because the blend mode none means that it'll be fully opaque and it'll never be transparent. So you can change it to normal and that will have transparency. So now, as you can see at the top, it's blurry and at the bottom it's not. So if you have a mask, I'll try to import. I'll see what I have. I probably have some kind of mask from some project, and we can see how you do it with the texture, real quick. Sorry, I'm just looking through my files right now.
No worries. Speaking of, did you guys know that we have a Minecraft live challenge going on, and the winner pool you are getting from $30,000. I think the grand prize is $10,000, and we have a new category in our asset library called Minecraft, and you can get like official Minecraft assets from our asset library. So I think it is so cool. If you haven't checked it out already, go check it out. It seems like Sasha is already working on it because she said, for Halloween, I will create an effect that is like a zombie survival, like Minecraft style. But I have some doubts about persistence, instantiation, and especially about destroying instantiated objects. So you came to the right place. We can help you answer that. But you can create different Minecraft themed challenges. It will be awesome. I am putting the link in the YouTube chat for people who are interested in checking it out. So go check it out if you haven't already. But we are very excited for this challenge. Actually, this week I'm going to do a tutorial, but it will be for a beginner friendly tutorial. And I know if you guys are attending office hours, you guys are already pros. But if you want to just come and meet the Minecraft community, come join us. I wonder if you guys currently have like any ideas that you want to do, or you guys want to keep it a secret. We'll see. But I am very excited. Oh, FF Gaming 789 says, I am creating a background effect, my favorite. Good job. Is it going to be like have a Minecraft background? I want to know. Also, IT experience says, please suggest me what I do. That is exactly what I'm going to do in this live. I'm going to show you how to modify the template so you can upload your own Minecraft effect, and maybe we'll work on it together. But let's bounce back some ideas, and I can give you some inspiration for what kind of Minecraft effect to create.
Okay, nice. If you take a look back at this project, you can see I added this spray texture. This is like the most rampy texture I have, meaning like it goes gently from transparent to opaque. And you might recognize it as like a spray paint kind of brush. So I use this to paint on where the blurry part is. So you can see that it gradually looks blurrier the more centered it is. And the way that I did this was I just used this spray texture that I have, which just looks like this. And I use a texture coordinate to plug in so that I can move it around the screen. And then I just sample the texture. And instead of drawing that blank white spray paint texture, I just sample how much alpha it has in each pixel. So the alpha, instead of controlling drawing this texture, we're just controlling how much of that blur texture in screen space to draw. So that's how you would do it. And you can do that with any transparent image that you want to import to create this effect. Yeah, pretty similar to that one that we were doing in last week's live. I hope that's clear and helpful. And if you want, I've zoomed in on this to get as much of it in the screen as possible in case you want to screenshot it and take a stab at it yourself.
Thank you, August. I think that was very, very helpful. We have another question from last week's office hours. It was asked by Tom. What's the best way to calculate your project's total GPU memory usage? We've had multiple projects rejected for being over 200 megabytes. Can't figure out what's the best way to figure out as there is no app test yet.
Yeah, so depending on how technical you are, you might have some experience with memory usage. If you if you're working on an effect on mobile and it's going to be running on mobile, phones or mobile devices usually have like much less memory, and memory refers to RAM if you're familiar with computer technology. So any desktop computer or any laptop is going to have a lot more RAM than most phones. And that is what's holding the effect when it's actually running before it or after it already loads onto your device. So, what can increase that is if you have a lot of different things on the screen at the same time. So, if you have like, say, like 20 different textures, that's going to take a lot more RAM and a lot more memory than if you had one texture on the screen 20 times, for instance. It's about how much of the things in the asset panel are being loaded into the hierarchy panel at runtime at the same time. And some things you have to think about is if you're using like a randomizer or something and you're flipping through a bunch of different images, most of the time it's not unloading each image just one frame after it disappears. It'll hold on to it if it thinks it's going to come back again, like in a randomizer. So when you're showing those, even though you're only showing one image at a time, you're still probably loading all of those images. So that might take a lot of RAM. I think PNG sequences, animated textures, a lot of times, if they're full screen, that's usually the largest memory usage that I can think of that I've seen in past projects. So that's a place to look if you're using that. Otherwise, yeah, it's usually a lot to do with textures, audio, or files that take up the most space that are loaded and used at runtime. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully you can sort it out.
Thank you for that advice. Let me know if you are still having questions. We have another question from the YouTube live chat. Addie is asking, hi, can you please show us a little bit on how to rig a physics collider to a full body tracking? I'm kind of stuck because I have no idea how to visualize them in the preview and see it. It seems to keep passing through.
One thing to consider is to trigger the full screen or the full body avatar um, algorithm. You have to show a lot of your body. You have to really step back and get your whole body in the frame. So if you're testing while you're sitting at your desk, that might be kind of hard, but you really have to get up and into the screen. So let's add body avatar drive to this. So follow body position. Oh, I think we need to open the template.
I think that's a great tip because you don't exactly know when the body avatar starts being applied. So maybe you could have a little ball that comes up when it detects that there is a body avatar drive, just to test whether it is activating, and then you can test out. But August is going to give us some more useful tips.
Yeah, that's like one of the things I was definitely going to say is anytime you're not sure about something, add some visual component that you can see as a sanity check. Wow, it's really coming around the corner. This sweater is going to be relevant again
Yeah,
someday.
I know. Chinyu was making this last year around this time, and I remember, and it's full circle moment. Wait, but now that this reminds me, someone needs to make a Jack skeleton effect with the pumpkin so I can dance my spooky, scary skeletons. Or I've seen so many merch on TikTok Shop recently that is like spooky themed, and I saw like this cute bluey sweater. I'm not sure if I'm willing to drop a couple dollars for it, but I would like to see a picture of me with it. So maybe I'll make the bluey version of like a Halloween merch, and we can all try it out together.
Okay, so this is having this sweater and the pants on the body avatar drive. I feel makes it so much easier to see where things are. So it's almost like I would use this template to set it up, and then I would delete the clothes later when I don't need it anymore, and that might be the most helpful thing. So you can see where they are. Like this is where the hand is, and then you could okay, so what I usually do is when there's something like this where all of these bones are part of the actual rig and not something that I created, I'll usually create an empty scene object, which is I thought there was a scene category. Okay, it's not there. Okay, I'll just add a empty mesh. So oops, I'm adding components. That's why I couldn't find it. Sorry. Okay, so scene object. I love using this scene object, but I feel like it's often forgotten. So we reset it using the transform dot 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 reset. That's the quickest way to snap something when you after you've moved it to a new object, just in case people didn't know. So now it's on our hand, and I just like to call these holders. Through every project that I do, I always just call it holder. So like collider holder, and then I know that that's on the exact hand. And I'm not going to move this. It just represents this hand. So that I do that because under the hood, a lot of times with complex stuff, you don't know what what Effect House is going to do with these objects. I assume that these belong to Effect House and I shouldn't edit or modify them. So this makes it easier to know, okay, it's not doing anything with my holder because I just made that. So yeah, that's just why I do that. It's a good tip. A lot less unexpected things happen that way. And then I guess for this time, I can just directly add a collider to this. And for a collider to work, I think you also need a rigid body. And if I don't want it to just drop, I can say it's static. And that should be all you have to do. We can add another cube. Oops, 3D cube, and that'll go down here. And then add component, physics, rigid body, and add component, box collider. And now both cubes have a box collider, or both things have a box collider. So when they overlap, they should trigger a collision. I guess we can just add that one collision node collision event. And for the collider component, let's see. Let's just do it on the hand, and let's manually get box collider. I recommend this for now, plugging in the box collider instead of using the object picker just for now, just because I think I just recommend that. Just trust me. And then the collision event, I think we want to just check for it every single frame, right? So that whenever we want to do something every single frame, we use the update node. And every single frame, it'll do this one thing. Event type on enter. So when they touch is what on enter means, when they first touch. And then we'll just I don't know, set visibility. And for this one, I will use the object picker and turn off this cube. And we'll just leave it as visibility off. And then if we go to this cube, we can see, well, it's kind of out of the screen. Yeah, this is the thing. I'm going to have to get full screen, aren't I? Aren't I?
You can use the runs of dancing.
Oh, that's true. Make him punch it. Okay.
Yeah. Addie actually mentioned in the chat, let's just test it using the full body video simulation and set the collider for the right bicep form and hands and send the object shooting from the camera.
Oh, interesting. Wait.
I just want to mention that on the TikTok live side, I see Adri Foxy. She's a effect creator and she's been making some real good effects recently. I've personally love the demon fruit match that she did using our slash match template. One Piece is coming out and I see a lot of people like loving the what's that, the real, not the animated version, real life version, but I've seen that on Netflix. I've been meaning to try. Should I try, you guys? Is it good? Do you guys recommend? Mind you, I've never seen One Piece before, so I am trying to decide if I should indulge. I heard that the original One Piece series is like over 200 hours. I don't know if I'm ready to dedicate, but if it's good, I will definitely try. It seems like there is a lot of people on the TikTok chat, and the chat is buzzing. Hi, guys.
Wait, what?
Oh my God.
It looks like it's colliding very early, very quick. If you can see when I restart it, it basically hits on the first frame. It might be because the body avatar drive takes one frame to recognize the first person in the screen. So maybe the cube is defaulting to some collapsed starting position. But yeah, you can see if I don't turn it off, it's just right there in front of the camera. It might be just too huge. Maybe this is the wrong size.
Oh my gosh. On the TikTok live side, there's a creator named Drama News. But this creator says, I love you guys for making this program for us creatives. 1.2 million on the launch of my first effect. That is insane. Congratulations. Great job.
Yeah, that's wild. That's really good. That's a great first effect. Okay, so now that I made the cube smaller, yeah, you have to make it really small for this. But yeah, as you can see, if I move the cube into his hand, so he punches through it, it'll disappear. So that means that this collision event is sensing the hand collider hitting the other random cube, and this event is just a generic it hit something kind of event. And then if you want more info, you can get it out of the contact info array. And if you're not sure how to use this, I highly recommend reading the learning resource online on the website about it, because it'll give you info about how to access each of the things in the array and what they are. So like, information about the other thing that it hit. And, you can get all of these things out of that. And then also just physics info and collision info are going to be super valuable to you, because these things are based on what you connect them to. For instance, a rigid body, you'll be able to get all of these different infos out of the rigid body that you need for debugging and stuff. And yeah, for a case like this, you probably were doing a lot of debugging. Maybe some of this information that you could pull out of your rigid body might help. Hopefully that was helpful and you get your box punching effect unstuck.
Adi is saying it seems like something is overriding the world scale when instantiated the body tracker. It
Yeah.
seems like 1/100th scale. And Sasha said we will need global and local transform perhaps. And then Adi suggested microjam full body tracking template.
Yeah, maybe. That would be a cool thing to design like a game around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, interesting. Well,
Recently we've been seeing a surge of such cool new physics effects, like drop this key into this thing, or I really like our ambassador Jonathan Hunt's new effect where you have the light bulbs going around, and then if you press it at just the right spot it hits the socket and then it gets connected and then it illuminates. It looks so beautiful and well done. If you guys haven't tried it out, go check him out. I'll put the link in the YouTube comments right now. But it also seems like in the chat, some people have been creating some awesome effects as well. Adi says, I created a one piece bounty art maker for Made by Humans. It reached tons of views. That's fantastic. I always thought those would be so awesome, like bounty with like how much you're worth. So I'll go check it out. Thank you, Adi, for making it.
that's awesome.
N asked a question. The eyebrow editor has a problem. The browser displays not in the correct place. Any advice?
I mean, I guess we could take a look at that specific template and see if we can figure it out. Um, eyebrows. Eyebrows for eyebrow. I am browsing. Sometimes it's hard to remember what the cover photo looked like for this one.
Is it
Um,
the one with like the cartoonish eyebrows?
I thought
Like
so.
cartoon eyebrows randomizer looking? Would it be under face?
It probably would. Here we are. Oh, was I looking in recommended instead of all? Maybe that's why. The French fry eyebrows. Oh, he loves the eyebrows. He's dancing. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, we have discovered. Um, yeah, this is a great time to bring this up. So, I think it was in the release notes, and it's a recent change from I think 3.0. You might have all remembered how all of the render textures rendered upside down, and we had to flip Y anytime we use them. Now you don't have to do that anymore. It's great. I've been loving it. But some of these templates, some of them you might notice still have the flip Y. So if you ever see anything upside down, feel free to report it so that we're like, oh, that template, we forgot to flip it upside down again. Then, we can update it pretty easily. But if you see it and you want to fix it yourself for your personal project, just undo this flip Y. And then, everything, I feel like that's a huge change that makes development so much more smooth where everything is right side up. I love it. So yeah.
So you're saying basically we created a little bug or error because we fixed our bug?
Nothing's a bug. It's all features.
If you had guys don't already know, we have a Effect House memes channel on our Discord page. It is hilarious. Feel free to go roast us on that channel. I love watching them. I occasionally contribute my own memes as well. So would love to see. But we have a new question from Adi. Love all the questions we're getting today, Addie. How to get a Boolean value for the new image tracker, whether the image is found or not.
For the image tracker. Um, target tracker. Okay, so AR camera, cube.
While August is getting ready for the project, it seems like on the TikTok chat side, we have a question. Do we have any limits for how many effects one can create? No, we do not. Go wild with your curiosity.
You know, I don't think there is a way currently that I know of. Celine, are you?
I I think I know a way. I actually have the PDF file where I put together how you can find that. So let me just bring that up so I can refer to it. But give me 1 second. In the meantime, I want to hear from
This
you guys.
I I would give this a try maybe. A lot of effect house features, if they're trying to detect whether something exists or not, a lot of them, not all of them, will turn that object on and off when they find it. So like head tracker, for instance, the visibility will turn off. The object will turn off if there's no head in the scene. So give that a try with your target tracker. See if you can. I'm just zoomed in on this, but you can recreate this in your scene to just see if it disappears and reappears when you find the object. And you can turn something on or off based on that. Yeah.
Give me 1 second to bring it up. But in the meantime, Cloves, one of our ambassadors, is saying even Effect House bugs or features sunglass emoji. I agree. I think it's so funny. Um, Adi, don't. Adi's saying, I'm so sorry for asking a lot of difficult questions. I'm just so excited for it. I love you guys. Um, Absolutely don't feel bad or feel sorry at all. This is literally the purpose of this session where you guys can come and ask how many questions you want and we answer them. But yeah. In the meantime, August, do you think we can show off the scratch template?
Sure. Let's see. Scratch or brush maze?
Ooh,
Well, maybe,
whichever one. Oh, should we
maybe I'll
ask
go.
the chat? What do you guys want?
They basically use the same pieces. So they're very similar. The brush maze is maybe a little more top level simple. So maybe I'll just show that. So you might notice this draw on touch subgraph. And I was actually the developer that worked on this. And no, I didn't actually even make this. You can add this to any project if you add a 2D screen image to your project, and then on that screen image, you click add interaction. So when you click add interaction, it'll use this current object that you're selecting in a subgraph. So this one, you can go down to screen touch and you can go to draw on touch. And that will create this subgraph with the screen image attached. And what it does is really it'll use a node that we have called 2D brush, and it'll wire up a bunch of extra stuff so that you can control brush texture and material color and all of that stuff in one place. So I'll just show you a different way. 2D brush. Just search 2D brush in the nodes, and then you'll get access to the actual node. So these are really the two ways to add a 2D brush to your project. Whenever I added the interaction, it'll create this one. And right away, without changing anything, you'll see it drawing on the screen like this. Without whatever your settings are. Notice I made it yellow. I clicked override brush material settings. Brush size is very small. But with the 2D brush, you have a little bit more control. So I would say draw on touch is the best for very simple things and for beginner users who don't really care too much to customize. And then if you need to customize, you can set up your own draw on touch subgraph using this. And this will allow you to use a custom brush material. Now, let me show you just some quick little thing. So let's add the portrait segmentation, right? And we've got we've got this strapping model in our preview panel, and we can use the touch to draw. So on start, we say brush on. On stop, we say brush off. That's just when you start touching, you start drawing. And when you lift your finger back up, you stop. Clear canvas. You might want to clear canvas when the video starts recording. When the user records, if you want to clear the canvas and have them start over and draw something new, that's very common. That's how you would do that. Or if you want to add a screen image tap to like some sort of reset button, you can add the reset button, add screen image tap, clear canvas. And it's always nice when somebody can just do some action to reset their drawing instead of turning the effect off and on. That's huge, huge. Way more likely that somebody will post a video with your effect if they can easily reiterate. I highly suggest playing with that.
This
And
is a
then you'll
great tip. Yeah. Sometimes like if you want to redo something, you got to like turn off and on your effect. That like really makes it less likely that creators are going to post your effect.
Yeah, you have to think about like when people turn it off and on, it's also adding a different music track on as well. So if they wanted to talk while they're doing it, they have to remove the music as well. So yeah, there's a lot of little things. So this is one cool thing that I saw somebody do. I'm adding this, what is it called? The background texture to an unlit material. I created a brand new unlit. I'm adding that background texture to it, right? And so it's just this purple, pink, blue texture in an unlit material. And then I put that into this 2D brush, this right here. And then the brush position is going to be set to current position. So that's your touch position, right? So basically with this, everything is set up. You can change the brush size if you want. You can make it rotate. But this canvas output 2D. Okay, so that is the last thing we need. I'll add a 2D screen image here, and I'll just move it here. And this will be our canvas. So you always need a canvas, and the canvas is just some 2D screen image. So you see right here, it's a default texture. Well, we're going to change that texture to our brush canvas by doing this. And then we notice this needs to be triggered, so we'll just add a start. And we only have to do it one time at the beginning to set this to our brush canvas. And now it's our brush canvas. Now when we touch, we'll see that texture that the brush is drawing to. So as you can see, this is a little bit more complex than the draw and touch subgraph that's automatically created. But look at this cool brush I'm making. It's square, sorry. So in your unlit, you're going to want to go to render state. And we've done this a couple times today, but change it to normal so that it is transparent and circular. Oh, wait. Trying to think. Density. Well, okay, no, this is the one that's better to do in the draw on touch. Sorry. Okay, there's plenty of cool things you can do with the brush material. I'll show you here. Let's just do the other one real quick. So you know how we have this yellow one? This is our other canvas, by the way. Notice I turned off the top one, and now I'm using this draw on touch, which is accessing this draw prompt or this brush canvas object right here. So if we change this texture to the background texture, and then we enable texture, it's yellow, so it's weird, but notice how let me increase the size so you can see it looks pretty cool. It's almost like the changing colors is giving it kind of a 3D look because it looks like shadows and highlights. And this is literally just by changing the texture of the brush. So I think people should experiment, and they'll come up with all kinds of crazy, awesome brushes. And then if you want to get really crazy and you want to make, for instance, a custom material that changes as you paint, you can create a custom material and put it in the 2D brush setup that I have on the left. Otherwise, if you don't need anything custom or crazy, you can use the draw and touch, and you can just customize it within these settings here. And you can make so many cool things. I'll
That
just change
is
this back to
awesome.
white.
You know
Yeah.
what the 3D brush look reminds me of? I used to be addicted to watching a bunch of Procreate videos that uses like this 3D brush, and then they're doing calligraphy on it, and it was so mesmerizing. I can watch that for hours.
That's awesome. It reminds me of the like Windows XP screensavers. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about that I think is a little deeper, but very very important to know if you want to make a lot of brush stuff. This interpolate density. This is how many times it's drawing the brush in between each stroke. So if you have a very small brush and you brush very quickly across the screen, it might only stroke on the screen 3 times. So you have to have a very high density to paint all of the in-between strokes. If you have a very big brush, then you probably won't notice when it goes very low. So this is set to 50 because the brush was very small. The maximum is 100. Just keep in mind that the effect will run, the performance will be changed by this. So if you set it to 100, you're going to render 100 brush strokes every frame. So just only keep this as high as you need it. Maybe change it until it looks good. Test it out. Like this one might be able to be 5. It still looks pretty good at 5. But even now you can see, if I brush really fast, you can see how many strokes are in between. So I would just play with it until it looks how you like it. And if you need to get rid of those like in between marks, just adjust interpolate density. Yeah.
That's an awesome tip. Also, I just wanted to send you some great feedback from the TikTok live chat. Sane Circle is saying, coming from a teacher, I really need to let you know, guys, that you are the best teachers ever with all caps. And they are saying, you're so to the point, you make everything clear, simple, and fun. So I think that is the best compliment that we could have received. So I'm very happy. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Also, Portisha Kell, your growth host, said, I'm inspired to go try out effects on Effect House. So, congratulations. Welcome to the Effect House world. Adi also says, wow, I didn't know that. That's super handy. I'll experiment with it to create fluid distortion shaders or erasing fog on the screen with it. Adi also says, can that ink be passed to render target for recursive effect using material editor?
Oh yeah. Anytime you want to capture something and send it back to a material editor, you always want to just use a render texture. So this canvas that we're seeing right now, this brush canvas, that's where our paintbrush is going, and it's being captured by this camera, 2D camera. So because it's being captured by this camera, the reason that we're seeing it is because it's going to final render out. That's basically what we see in the preview window. So if you wanted it to go somewhere else, you would just create a texture, render texture, and the assets panel, and you would use that render texture to capture it instead. So we switch to render texture instead of final render out. Now we'll no longer see any of that stuff, but it's still happening. I just drew on the screen, for instance. And then we'll create a new screen image. Actually, let's see. I just want to create a whole new camera. And then we will we don't need any of these. And this camera will go to final render out. And so that's the one we'll see. And so all it is this draw prompt right now, but instead of the draw prompt, we would create a custom material, and that custom material would be assigned here. Empty material is the one we just created. And then because I didn't add anything to it, it just renders like a white square. But if we would just want to do a simple thing, like just sample the texture, sample our render texture, right? And then for this one, I would choose texture coordinate so that it renders the same as it did before. You could also use screen coordinates if you want it to be more of a mask. And then just straight color to shader. And then you can see if we, if we stretch it to full screen, like all of the other render textures are, and then we set it to stretch, we will see that we get our brush back. And in between, now we can do whatever we want with that. If we don't just want to straight up draw it, we can, this is in this custom materials where we can use it to do other things, to mask, to do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I hope that was straightforward. That was a lot of steps.
Yeah, thank you for the advice. Lord says, I made a new effect called Steamy Doodles as an experiment from the base Scratch template. Great new templates.
That's awesome.
Frojo had a question. He asked, "Hello, what is the equivalent of interpolate density in the brush microjam?"
Well, the brush microjam was pretty simple. There wasn't any sort of interpolation. Uh, I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek example under the hood of this. I can't say anything that's like that I don't know, but essentially, there's a lot of different ways in shaders and in math that you can make a sort of brush, right? Because you only have strokes every frame. So if you're brushing very fast or you're doing a very hard curve, it only knows those points that it gets every frame. So if you're brushing like fast, for instance, a lot of times it'll be a very like sharp curve where there's just like a point here, a point here, a point here, and you can see those like corners on the curve. Um, but there are a lot of algorithms out there, and you can look up. Well, I'll think of the name of it in a second, or share after. But there are a lot of different algorithms that you can predict what that rounded curve would be based on input data. So what we're doing in the brush is we're predicting that curve, and we're assuming if you have a point here, a point here, and a point here, and it forms kind of a triangle, we make the brush curve around that point with an algorithm. So that's super helpful for something like this, because like it's very rare that you're very quickly zipping back and forth and you want like a bunch of hard edges. Uh, so so yeah, you get very round edges with this kind of thing. Does that answer the question, or did I just totally go off on a tangent?
I think you answered the question, but if you need more clarifications, Projo, please let us know. He also has another question, though. By the way, inside the subgraph of touch, where is the 2D texture material from?
The 2D texture material. Wait, I might have missed one part of that. Which 2D texture material? Do you, is there a specific texture material? Wait, can you repeat the question?
Um, I I think we're talking about the template.
Oh, okay. And which template was this? Is there a specific template that I should look for? Okay. Previous. um, oh no. Please hold for technical difficulties.
I'm back. I'm back. Sorry, guys, for the audio issue. But Projo Air Filters was asking the 2D brush material in the Draw on Touch subgraph. Oh, 2D,
Oh, okay.
2D brush template. The maze template. Okay, maze template.
Okay. Oh, the main template. I think these are our two only brush templates. Um, so this one also uses 2D brush. You might recognize this thing here that we just saw. Draw and touch is inside of this one as well. And this brush material, you might be looking at this and say override brush matte settings. What? Well, that's because there's a default brush material. And if you look at this gray node on the left, it says 2D brush material. Now, the reason that it's connected like this to all of the different nodes is because it's a special node. It's a node that you can't really duplicate and reuse. You can't create it anywhere. It just lives in this one draw on touch subgraph that auto generates. So if you try to duplicate it and connect it separately or anything like that, it's not going to behave normal. So generally in this draw on touch subgraph, we don't really recommend changing anything or replacing any pieces or editing it too much because it might not behave like normal. But this is the default brush material. So when you're using the 2D brush node instead of using the draw on touch subgraph that's auto generated, you can use your own material for the brush material. And that brush material can be anything. Pretty much as long as it renders something to the screen, it will work. Yeah. I don't know if there's any other clarifications or anything on that, but
Ooh, we have a fun recommendation from the TikTok chat side. Sane Circle is saying, I think with the Labyrinth Maze template, it would be so cool to create a Harry Potter chess effect. Ooh, I'm looking forward to that effect. I love the Harry Potter movie series, especially the chess scene. So if you make it, please let us know. In the Discord channel, there is a dedicated channel for the live audience. Hi, guys, our live community. I love it. You can put the fully finished effects there and we will show it during the live. So please, please, please mention it during the live.
I
Okay,
just
we have. August, did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, if we're doing Harry Potter, we should do the fourth book, end of the book, hedge maze with all the crazy stuff inside.
That is so true with a tri wizard tournament
Yeah,
athlon, and there's like the maze that closes. Oh my gosh, that would be absolutely insane.
and then track where the finger is touching, and when it gets to like the exit, you take a accidental port key, and it changes your effect, and you're like, you have like Voldemort over your shoulder and stuff.
Wait, is that a sneak peek? I don't know if we're allowed to share, but I know we have something coming in the works, right? Live people, do not go and share this information. It is sacred,
all,
but we're
all
just giving you guys a sneak peek.
All I'll say is if you want to attach something to the shoulder, use the neck tracker because it won't rotate with
Hmm. Projo is saying, can I download this magic node or create my own magic nodes? Ha ha ha.
the
Addie is saying Patronus effects. Ooh, now it's really starting to feel like fall. Um, Haley Kapaz had a couple questions. I think with these questions, we will conclude office hours today. But don't worry, like we addressed the questions from office hours last week. If you have questions, still put it in the chat, and those will be the first things that we answer in the next office hour. So don't worry. Haley Kappa says, if we have two empty body tracking objects on our effect, does it weigh a lot heavier than one?
That's a great question. Body tracking. And by body tracking, I'm assuming body avatar drive. One thing to note, so there's no way on this body avatar drive to select which body it's tracking. So I would assume I would just do some tests, honestly. I'm not 100% sure actually, but some of our features will do the heavy part one time and then access that data every frame. So adding multiple of them won't really make the effect heavier. But sometimes, especially if it needs to track more than one head or multiple people, then adding more of them to track more heads or something will make it heavier. But one test that I do sometimes that's not always perfect is I just add like 50 things to the scene, so 50 body trackers. Then I run it on my phone to see if it's lagging at all with just that feature alone. That's like a quick way. Sometimes it'll happen, sometimes it won't. And if it's not happening, then it's probably not something to worry about. But if I find a way to get that information, I'll post it later in the Discord after this stream. If we find anything concrete.
Perfect. One more question from Haley Kapaz, also about performance. Is the new environmental light more performance heavy than our directional light?
It's not going to be more performance heavy, but it will be another light. And when you're working with 3D stuff, the more lights in your scene they're going to be acting on every 3D object that you have. That unless it's an unlit, then those ones don't interact with light. But anything that interacts with light, PBR materials especially, if you add multiple lights, each of your PBR materials is going to be working like twice as hard. So yeah, the more lights in your scene, the heavier, but don't be scared away from using one environment light and one directional light. That's pretty common.
Perfect. Saint Circle is saying, thank you guys so much for everything you taught us today and all of your positivity and support. Thank you. Oh, that is so sweet. Our TikTok chat is buzzing. Our YouTube chat is buzzing. I'm so sorry to let you guys go. But before we go, I see that Alyssa, Art by Alyssa, who is also one of our ambassadors, has asked a question. I'm making a makeup effect with buttons. Is there a way to make a reset button for the makeup?
A makeup effect with buttons. Is there a way to make a reset? Well, one thing you could do is screen image tap and then have your button. You would just use object selector to select whatever your button is. And then you would go through and let's just add one makeup. We'll do lip effect. And so you would, if you have anything on this makeup that's like that you want to be normal or like default, I mean, you would just have a chain of these. So you'd be like, okay, so the lip color I actually wanted to be all the way red. This is the default value of that. And then the opacity is 50 or 0.5. So that's the default value. And then every default value that you have that could be changed from the buttons in your effect, you'll just set them here. And so this screen image tap is like a maybe a little like reset button or something. And when people tap it, it just sets all of these values back to their default. So you just want to go through all of your parts of your makeup and find any value that might be changed. And then if it's changed, also set it here. Another thing you could do is I do this a lot, and it depends on if you want people to design the makeup while they're recording, or if you want them to design the makeup before they record and then just record a video without it changing. But if you want them to design the makeup with the buttons in the video, then you'll make sure to, when the video record starts, reset all the makeup. And some people might be really mad if they set up the perfect makeup and then they hit record and it all goes back to defaults. But yeah, it really depends what you want the user to do. And that's one way to drive them a little more towards what your intentional usage is. So keep that in mind. The video record node is very useful to move the users in the right direction. Yeah.
Perfect. The chat is all buzzing. I'm so sorry we can't get to all of the questions, but I promise, it will be the first thing that we answer during the next office hours. So don't you fret. But before we end, I have a little fun segment for you guys. I was so inspired by how you guys are always sharing like your fun effects that you've created. So we're going to be checking out one of the effects that was mentioned during the stream today. I don't know if you guys can guess based on this, but it is actually an effect from Lord, who is in our chat right now. Lord Rugen Hizen has mentioned that they have created a new effect called Steamy Doodle. So I'm going to turn it on. Open your mouth to fog the mirror. Ooh. And then when I'm dragging the finger around, this is so cool. Look at this. I feel like I look the best after I come out of the shower. Is it maybe because of the fact that it's blurry and I can't see my face well? We'll never know, but I love this effect. Everybody go try it out. Recently, I've seen a lot of people create a foggy window mirrors effect. I think it's true that all great minds think alike. So, but this is such an awesome effect. Thank you, Lord, for making this effect. If you guys make an effect that's inspired by the live, or if you just want to showcase your effect, please either put it during the stream, put it in the comment section, or put it in our Effect House Discord. There's a designated section. I'm just trying to get that channel popping. Also, earlier, I know someone asked, how can we get the Boolean value for target tracking? I'll also put the subgraph or a little code snippet to you that you can use in that channel. So if you want to check it out, go over there. But that is the end of our office hours today. Another full hour of fun, enjoyment, creativity. Thank you, August, for the amazing tutorial. Everybody really loved this episode. I am so happy.
Can't wait to see all the brush effects. They're gonna pop off in the next month. I know it.
Yes. Is the brush effect the new physics effect? We'll see. Thank you guys for coming. Have a great rest of your day. Drink pumpkin spice latte. Come up with Halloween costumes and let us know. Okay, bye guys.